We are back again with another news video. As it has been talked about since July, the amount of talent that Triple H has brought back, that Vince McMahon, for one reason or another, let go over the last 2 years, and one person that has been heavily talked about since the releases took place. I don't remember what crop of releases Bronson Reed was a part of, but I know Jonah, as he is named on the Independents at this point, Jonah has been talked about since he was released as somebody that could return to WWE if things changed. And it seems like Triple H is going to be making a big push for Jonah to make a return to the company, as Triple H, as everybody knows, right near the end of the Black and Gold era, one of the last people that were pushed were Jonah. Jonah was even a North American champion at one point, and soon after he was North American champion, he got released. So it would be nice to see Jonah back in the WWE or Bronson Reed back in the WWE, given the opportunity or given the run that he should have gotten the first time around. Much like in the first news video earlier today, we have unfortunate updates on injuries on a possible injury, as Anthony Bowens was shown online in a sling. It is possible that he now has a shoulder injury of some sort. Maybe it is, it is entirely possible that it is just them selling the injury ahead of the title match at Full Gear. But I do hope, for the sake of the Acclaimed, that Anthony is okay, because for them to lose any sort of momentum, it is unquestionable that the Acclaimed is, if not the hottest act in AEW right now, that it would be unfortunate for them to lose any sort of momentum, especially as the champions, because you figure if Anthony is injured and possible to miss any length of time, that would require them to drop the belts to Swerve in Our Glory at Full Gear. So, if the Acclaim do drop the belts, you may know why, and it would be a terrible thing, horrible horrible timing. I just hope the best for the Acclaimed, because they've grown on me to a point. To a point, they've grown on me. One thing that has also grown on me is Triple H running the creative direction at WWE, because Triple H has taken a more long-term approach and paid more attention to continuity, and the small details in general seem to be more important under Hunter than they were under Vince, and that is 100% something that I preach. It's something that I preach, that long-term booking and continuity. Like, there are wrestling fans that do pay attention to the small details, and you need to pay attention to it, because if the wrestling fans care, then you have to give them a reason to care. Otherwise, they will stop caring. Because if there's anything that wrestling fans are, the wrestling fans are fickle. But what goes hand in hand with Triple H's change in creative direction is hiring the writers to go along with it. And that is what WWE is doing currently. If you look at WWE's career page, they are currently looking for new writers. So if you ever wanted to work for WWE, now is your opportunity to try and get a job working in Stamford, Connecticut on the creative team at WWE. Feel free to go to WWE's creative career page and apply to become a creative writer or producer for the promotion, because I'm sure that that is something that a lot of us, number one, never thought we'd have the opportunity to do, but also it might be fun to just put your name in the hat and see what happens, because you never know. Imagine if WWE calls you back. Speaking of something I talked about in the previous video, outside of a lot of injuries, I did mention that in this video I would discuss CM Punk. So as it turns out, apparently from conversations and reports, Punk's relationship with AEW is only getting worse. And as of right now, Punk has not been bought out by his employer. So it is a question of, will CM Punk get bought out by AEW? If he does, what happens to Punk? Is Punk done in wrestling? AEW still apparently has some of Punk's merchandise still on sale and are still, I guess you could say, still making money on CM Punk. So it is a question of what happens, like what the plan is, like what would AEW do with the merchandise if they buy out CM Punk? Is Tony Khan trying to work with Punk to get him back into the company and get him back into the fold? And of course, if shit does fall out with the AEW, what does that mean for him in WWE? In my opinion, in my opinion, I don't think WWE would bring him back. Don't get me wrong, him coming back to WWE would be a huge get for WWE. It would be a huge get for WWE. 100%. A huge get for the company. And it would show how different the Triple H era and the Vince and Triple H and Stephanie and Nick Khan era is compared to Vince, because some people say, oh, well, if anything, Punk would have came back under Vince, blah 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 blah. I don't think he would have came back under Vince either. There is conversations and there are reports to say that Punk would not want to. According to reports, WWE creative members don't want Punk back because they're aware of what happened in AEW. But in my opinion, and as the report says, it is ultimately a Steph and Nick Khan decision, not a creative decision. But I don't think Punk will come back to WWE. That's just my opinion. And also, as I mentioned in the previous video, Impact Wrestling has their next pay-per-view tonight. And their next pay-per-view is Impact Wrestling Overdrive, live on FIGHT.tv. It is live on FIGHT.tv, where Impact Wrestling X Division, the new X Division champion, will be crowned as Trey Miguel goes against Black Tyrus. Frankie Kazarian chose option C a few weeks ago to cash in his X Division title for the opportunity to challenge Josh Alexander tonight at Impact Overdrive for the Impact Wrestling World's Championship. According to what Impact Wrestling is saying, Frankie Kazarian was the first person to walk out of the tunnel on Impact back in the day. So it is surreal to think that after all this time, he is back in the world title picture, challenging Josh Alexander. I, for one, do not believe that Frankie will win the world title tonight, unfortunately for Frankie Kazarian. But also, it is crazy to think that after, like I mentioned in previous videos, I think Frankie had been in the world title picture back in like 2007, 2008. And it is crazy to think he's back after all this time. Impact Wrestling tag team titles are also on the line as Heath and Rhino defend against the major players, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. And with rumors surrounding Cardona and Chelsea Green possibly returning to WWE, what does that mean for Cardona's status in Impact Wrestling? And also, could that be the reason why Tyrus won the NWA World's Championship at Hard Times 3 and not Matt Cardona? Also, Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace fight for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship in a last woman standing match. Mickie James against Taylor Wilde. Taylor Wilde returned back at Bound for Glory as Mickie James continues on her retirement tour, pretty much, where I do believe it is the same stake as it was for Ric Flair, where the next match that Mickie James loses will be her last in Impact Wrestling. Also, I just want to mention that I will be doing a preview of Rampage and Full Gear as another video outside of the news videos. So that's why you have not heard much about Full Gear or Rampage just yet, because that is still to come. As I said at the beginning of the last video, or the beginning of the first news video today, we got a lot to record today, and not a lot of time to do it. I know I could do the predictions tomorrow, but instead I'm doing them tonight. We'll see what happens. But either way, guys, I do appreciate everybody and all the support. I do appreciate all the support, but if you're looking for wrestling tonight, it is a chock full night of wrestling with SmackDown starting at 8 o'clock, Rampage at 10, and then Impact Wrestling Overdrive somewhere in the middle. So you could be watching SmackDown and AEW on your television screen and Impact Wrestling on your computer because Impact Wrestling is available tonight on Fight.tv. With that being said, these have been my thoughts on wrestling. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, or you can leave a like and subscribe to the channel because any and all interactions on this video do help and are very much appreciated. But if you don't want to do that, you can always ding dong that bell, and I highly suggest you do that to always know when a new video is up on the channel. And until next time, I'll see you again soon.